You know, some people think that this is a revolution. This is not a revolution. This is a change that we're trying to take place. It's more of a, it's not, because with a revolution, the entire masses of people have to be on the same page, and you have to overthrow the government. It's a negotiation in which we're asking and making demands to people who necessarily don't have to give in unless the pressure is properly pushed on them. And so the lost voices need to continue what they do because they are very valuable to this cause. The fact of the matter is they continue to march. They've taken their marches from Ferguson because you all can imagine we've had more than Mike Brown be killed out of the hands of cops. Okay, we've had several young men since Michael Brown's death. So they've taken their cry and their voice to other areas of the city, and they are getting the attention of those who are in charge. I'm a youth preacher. The first thing I learned to do is quit listening to my constituents who told me that it was dangerous to deal with the youth. My church is in the hood. About 2 weeks ago, my church got vandalized and was broken into, and they completely robbed us of all of our equipment and all of that things. And my friends said, "I told you so." That was like on a Friday or Saturday. Sunday morning we had service. On Monday morning I had an open forum for the youth to come back to the church. When I invited all of my friends who are preachers, I told them, do not come if you can't handle a curse word being said in the church. Do not come if you can't stand the stench of marijuana. And don't come if you're scared, because these are going to be Crips, Bloods, gangster disciples, gangbangers, drug dealers, and folks who are saying they are ready to die and kill. In other words, what we've done at Peace of Mind and what we've done in Clergy United is that we first gave them a platform. And we did not tell them anything. We listened and allowed them to tell us what they wanted and what they needed. When we were able to take that approach, it became easier to say, you don't know what you're talking about. Because they trusted us enough because we came to where they were.
I thought the role that Missouri State Captain Ron Johnson played was really, really interesting. I mean, looking at it from a national perspective, him and understanding the community, but he also getting a lot of pushback from other law enforcement. I'm interested from your perspective, the dynamics there around his presence.
Thanks. I wouldn't want to be Captain Ron Johnson right now. I trust him to this degree. He's not the highest ranking officer in the State Highway Patrol, but I believe he was the right man for the job, because the onslaught that he takes from the community, the media, and watch this, the police.
That's right.
I would not want to have his job. He's broken the wall of silence that the badge usually have. He's received death threats from police officers, you know, folks whose license is getting on the street right now. And on Monday, Dr. Haynes is with me. On Monday, he's coming. Not because he refused, but he's sitting down with the gangbangers to have a dialogue with them. And this is what he asked me to tell them. Please forgive me that I am ordered to have security with you. But if they are uncomfortable with my security, we'll leave them on the first floor. We'll go talk on the second floor. Many will say that he was sitting there as a pawn in the game of chess, and probably was, but they picked the wrong guy. He has a job to do. And one thing I appreciate about him is he makes sure that they understand that he's a police officer. And he's there to maintain peace and to protect the citizens that he's been sworn to serve. And so there's been times when he and I fell out because his understanding of what it took to serve was different from mine. There's a video of he and I in the middle of the street. I actually was crying. I was going to quit because I didn't like the decision he made. And he called me later and he said, Pastor, you got to understand. I cannot submit to just one side, but I have to do what I think and what folks are telling me is the right thing for all sides.
You know, every 28 hours across this country, an unarmed black person is killed by law enforcement or by an armed vigilante, a white armed vigilante. And we know that that happens here in Portland. We know those names. We carry those names. We recognize that this is symptomatic of larger issues.
As most of you know, in, I believe it was December of 2012, the Department of Justice filed a lawsuit against the City of Portland, the Police Bureau, for engaging in a pattern and practice of excessive force against individuals with mental illness or perceived to have mental health issues. The same day that that lawsuit was filed, the City and the Department of Justice jointly filed a request for the court to enter in this proposed settlement agreement, which was a lengthy document that the Department of Justice and the City, prior to filing the lawsuit, had given the community the opportunity to weigh in on, but they had essentially negotiated that settlement agreement behind closed doors. The day that they filed the lawsuit, they also asked for this settlement agreement to be entered by the court, and therefore it could be a standing order of the court, and the Department of Justice would have been the overseer for the implementation of that settlement agreement. There's been a lot of discussion in the community about that settlement agreement and its terms. The AMA Coalition has held forums engaging the community about the settlement agreement. There were some litigation that went on. The Portland Police Union, the Portland Police Association, had requested to join that suit as a party, a motion to intervene. The Albina Ministerial Alliance Coalition for Justice and Police Reform also filed a motion to intervene. The court allowed the police union to be a party to the lawsuit as an intervener. And instead of allowing the AMA Coalition to have that same status as a party, the court said that we could be what's called enhanced amicus, a friend of the court. And the enhanced part of this was very important because it allowed the AMA Coalition a seat at the table. And the judge was very specific and very clear that he wanted to hear from the AMA Coalition just as he could hear from the Department of Justice, from the City of Portland, from the police union on the issues that were involved in the litigation. A point to note, very intentionally, the Department of Justice lawsuit that was filed focused on mental health issues. As I said before, it was a pattern and practice of excessive force against individuals in our community with mental health issues. The lawsuit specifically excluded race from that analysis. The Department of Justice came to town and launched this investigation in the wake of the shooting of Aaron Campbell back in January of 2010. And that intersection, with Mr. Campbell's case, it was the intersection of mental health and race that brought this community out to the streets in outrage about that death. So the Department of Justice exclusion of race from that analysis was, we thought, a very critical point that needed to be addressed. And in so filing our motion to intervene, we raised the issue of race, and we wanted to talk about race, and we wanted the Department of Justice to explain why race was not included in that. I think this, my belief is that this struck a chord with the court, and that's why the court wanted to hear from the AMA Coalition, wanted to hear from community members about these issues and about the way that the Portland Police Bureau was impacting people's lives, not just in the mental health area, but in that broader intersection of race and mental health. The case progressed through litigation. There was a court-ordered mediation process between the Portland Police Association, the city, and the Department of Justice. The AMA Coalition was granted a seat at that table in that mediation process, which was unheard of before this. And this was part and parcel of the AMA Coalition's enhanced amicus status, which allowed us to participate in the mediation and bring issues to the court directly. Fast forward to, we're now almost 2 years from the time that that settlement was entered into. And when the Department of Justice and the city asked the court to enter in this proposed settlement agreement, they expected that it would be approved and it would be entered immediately. Because of the intervention and because of the AMA's efforts, I would say, that pushing the city and the Department of Justice to actually look at these terms and make sure that they were what this city needed, that there has been a continuous engagement from the community at a level that otherwise would not have existed. Ultimately, the court entered in the settlement agreement, but the court has ordered now that the parties come to court once a year and report to the court on the status and the implementation of this settlement agreement. This was over the objection of the City of Portland, over the objection of the Portland Police Association. And it was at our request, thank you, Shauna. It was at our request that the city, that the court continued to have an oversight role. And it was because the community came out in droves during this 2-day fairness hearing that the court was responsive to that request. And wanted to be responsive to the city's concerns about the settlement agreement, about the terms of the agreements, whether it was fair, whether it was adequate, and whether it was reasonable. That the city has decided to appeal this order. The city has not appealed the entry of the agreement itself, which means the agreement itself is being implemented according to the city with the Department of Justice as the kind of enforcer of the agreement. But this extra layer of oversight that the court wanted to place upon this whole process is important for the community in Portland to understand what is going on and whether it's being implemented and whether it's being implemented adequately. Is the resolution that was passed by the City Council authorizing the appeal stated that the city wanted to appeal the order because they wanted clarification on what this annual hearing would look like. And specifically in the resolution that was passed by 4 of the council members, stated that the way to seek this clarification is through an appeal. Shauna and I are both of the understanding that that's not the only way to request clarification. One could go to the court and request clarification. Yet, the city has taken the extreme step of choosing to file an appeal.
We waited for 2 months, almost 2 months, to get a ruling on whether the court would hold these hearings. And we will never know the judge's thought process, but it did, that opinion came out when Ferguson was in the news. And I don't think judges exist in a vacuum. I think he saw that this was important. And so my personal opinion is that Ferguson had everything to do with the court's decision to oversee the settlement agreement.
As we were getting ready to, as the DOJ was investigating Portland to find out what was going on here after Aaron Campbell was shot, we presented them with a series of data that they themselves, the Portland police themselves, have put out over the years that shows that African Americans in this city are stopped 2.5 times more often than the representation of the population. That and that's just traffic stops. And the pedestrian stops are 4 times more often, and that they are searched more often and less contraband is found on them than white people. We present them with information that between 25 and 33% of the people who've been shot in Portland over the last 20 years have been African American in a city that's 6% black. And they said they couldn't find a pattern or practice of racial profiling in the city.
The reason that Judge Simon gave us friend of the court status, allowed us to continue that, is because of the 1.5 days of public testimony where community members came out and shared their distrust of Portland City Council to hold Portland Police accountable because of their historic record of not holding them accountable. The only people who have had an opportunity to review what Chief Reese says has been fixed has been people within Portland Police Bureau. And if we really thought Portland Police Bureau was the place for innovative changes, we would not have requested the Department of Justice to come to Portland to fix this.
Just want to give just a couple of minutes of historical context. For approximately 11 years, this struggle, and prior to the 11 years with Kendra James, on a bridge not too far from here, an unarmed black woman was shot through the car by a white Portland police officer that led to over 5,000 people clamoring together on that bridge and marching and crying for justice for Kendra James. Following that, in a series of shootings over that 10-year period of time, with the beating to death, and that's what it was, a beating to death of James Chassie, a white brother by the Portland police officer, and their inhumanity to hold him in a car until he was dead, and then bring him to a hospital. The Aaron Campbell case, Reverend Jackson called in this very auditorium a assassination. An unarmed, distressed young black male came up with his arms up in air, shot in the back by a police sniper. So I want to give some context that this is not something that just dropped from the sky. This is something, a period of 11 years of struggle for the calling of the Justice Department, not for an investigation that the FBI normally do and we never hear about it, but calling for an audit of the Portland Police Bureau that would be comprehensive from recruitment all the way to investigation to even to its promotion. This was 11 years of struggle to get to this point. And then in terms of Justice Michael Simon hearing the voices of the people, that we do not trust our Portland Police Bureau. We do not trust our city council to act, because if they would have acted, they would have acted 11 years ago. But as Frederick Douglass said, nothing moves without the demands. There are farmers who want crops without the lightning and the rain. It was the demand of the people, the demand of you, that say we want a different police department. Now we're at the point of a minimum settlement agreement that does not even deal with the 48-hour rule, in which in the Kendra James case, the same police officers that shot Kendra James went to Appleby, got together in a meeting, and everybody got their story together, and then came out with the same story. That 48-hour rule is still there. So the struggle goes on. Now we have a city council with the historical precedence of a judge saying enhance amicus to a community group. A community group that represents over 25 different organizations. To give them status, which has never been done in the history of the federal courts in dealing with police cases. A city council, because of egotism and power issues, of saying that we do not want the federal court to tell us anything. We can run our own house. Well, if that was true, there wouldn't be any problems. A city council that overwhelming all of the stakeholders said we do not want to appeal. The majority of the citizens of Portland, we do not want to appeal on this issue. But the mayor, whose ego said that nobody is going to take my power, not even a federal judge, decided, along with 3 other councils to vote for an appeal. An appeal that is against the democratic voices of the citizen that says we don't want to appeal. An appeal that is aimed at crushing the AMA coalition and not allowing them to be able to go up to the federal judge and ask questions on the progress or the non-progress. One of the demands or points of the AMA coalition is to call for a special prosecutor in controversial cases like this. Because of the relationship between the police on the local level and the district attorney office, it is hard for the DA to be objective in controversial cases when it becomes an issue of prosecuting a police officer that is part of their laboratory and integrated into that system of criminal prosecution. So we believe that the answer to that is to have a special prosecutor that will be objective, that would in turn really seriously prosecute the case. Ferguson tells us once again that the local DA is not the person to handle controversial cases of prosecution. That's why we're having all these leaks from the grand jury, leaking what they want, okay? And we need a special prosecutor to be able to come in these cases, because the DA can prosecute a ham sandwich. We will stand in solidarity with our brothers in St. Louis and Ferguson as they deal with the issues, and we will be in communication with them, because this is a long-term march for justice, not only for Michael Brown and Ferguson. Ferguson is the face, both literally and symbolic, of the issue of race and police accountability, whether they want to be or not. God has so ordained that the action will be in Ferguson, nationally and internationally. And so we will stand with our brothers and sisters in Ferguson as we deal with our own issues of police accountability. Let's give a hand to that.
Hold on, hold on, keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Well, the one thing we did right was the day we started to fight. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. But the one thing we did wrong, we stayed out in the wilderness a little too long. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Hold on, hold on, keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Paul and Silas, bound in jail, had no money to pay their bail. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Paul and Silas began to shout. The jail doors opened and they walked out. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Oh, hold on. hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. We face violence and jail time too, but we know the Lord will see us through. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. 'Cause the only chain that a man can stand is the chain of hand in hand. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Oh, hold on. Would you try to hold on? Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. I've got my hand on the gospel plow. Wouldn't take nothing for my journey now. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. I've never been to heaven, but I've been told the streets up there are paved with gold. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Oh, hold on. My people, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Yeah, hold on. My brothers, hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Oh, hold on. Black brother, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on.